everyone, welcome to GRATITUESDAY. My name is Raina and I am a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center. Today we are going to be looking at an article called 5 Simple Ways to Practice Gratitude in Recovery. This is from the, I can't read that, therehab.com. Man, getting old. So it starts out with giving you a little bit of information that practice gratitude is one of those platitudes that seems like it belongs in script on a wall next to live, laugh, love. And while it may sound a bit hippie and spiritual, this valuable practice is strongly encouraged by most therapists and counselors. In particular, individuals are urged to practice gratitude in recovery. And we say this a lot, like a grateful addict will never use. And it's very important to be grateful for what you have instead of focusing on what you don't have. So how exactly does someone practice gratitude and know they're doing it right? Figuring that out is a natural first step in the Mindful Gratitude Journal. Here is a breakdown of what practicing gratitude is and 5 concrete ways you can do it. So they first talk about defining the act of practicing gratitude. So it's going to talk about the different ways that, gratitude can make a big impact in your life. And there are a lot of different ways to practice it. So it says a feeling of gratitude is similar to a sense of solid appreciation. When you practice gratitude, you can make a conscious effort to recognize the things, people, and actions in your life you should be thankful for. These are the things, big or small, that make you feel lucky and have helped guide you in the right direction. And I think that's important, big or small. It could be something as big as, buying your first home, but it can also be something as small as being able to take a hot shower. So it's important to look at both ends of that, because where you are right now and what you are grateful for right now might be a little harder to recognize than when you're further along in recovery and have obtained some things. So we don't want to forget about all those small things that we were grateful for when we start getting the bigger things in our lives. Making an effort to practice gratitude regularly can have an incredibly positive impact on your mental health. It forces you to appreciate the progress you've made, enjoy even the minor things in life, and acknowledge everything in life that helps you, such as people, your body, medication, and more. Countless studies have found that people who actively practice gratitude report higher levels of happiness and are less likely to suffer from depression. It does. It really can make a big impact on your mental health. Because when you start being grateful for the things you have instead of focusing on what you don't have, your attitude is just going to continually improve. Because when we only think about the negative, it brings down our mood, dampens our spirit. So we want to learn how to focus on the positive to help improve those things. Practicing gratitude is one of the most popular early recovery topics. It may be there under different names. For example, AA Daily Reflections. Recovery is a lifelong journey and can come with many challenges. Finding things to be grateful for in recovery helps an individual keep their mind in a positive place. Rather than focusing on mistakes from the past or future challenges, it lets a person acknowledge the good accomplishments they've accomplished so far. So it does, because finding things to be grateful for is just going to make the process of recovery better. You know what I mean? When we come into recovery, we tend to just focus on the mess that we've made, the people that we've harmed, or the guilt we feel, the shame. And those are the things that will hold us back and can take us back into active addiction. So we want to kind of flip that script and start focusing on the positive. And practicing gratitude is a great way to do that. Mentions the AA Daily Reflections. NA has, a couple things that are the same concept. You might find something similar if you are a religious person. There are a lot of different outlets for gratitude. It's not just simply saying, I am grateful for. You can find other things that help reinforce that where you are today is better than where you were yesterday. And we want to keep doing that and continually improve as we go along. So 5 ways to practice gratitude in recovery. Now that you know what practicing gratitude is and how it can help you, here are 5 easy ways to incorporate it into your recovery. So the first one is embrace a new perspective. This is a big one because it's not easy to change your perspective from the negative to the positive. It takes practice and it takes a willingness to want to start putting the negative things behind you and focusing on the positive things and moving forward. Says it can be hard to feel grateful every day, especially as you're going through all the ups and downs of recovery. But a lot about practicing gratitude is focusing your perspective. You need to be realistic and recognizing that sometimes you'll have bad days. It might be a little harder to find the thing to be grateful for on those days, but you can find it. Life shows up. Every day is not going to be peaches and cream just because, we're not using anymore. There are still going to be challenges in life. There are still going to be challenges that you need to overcome. And when you're having those bad days, I feel like it's even more important to kind of jot down a few things that you're grateful for, a few positive things. Because when you consistently do that, it just becomes a habit. It's something that you don't think about after you do it for so long. So it doesn't have to be a grandiose feeling of appreciation every day. You can simply feel grateful that you made it through or that you didn't take your bad day out on anyone else. The small things. You can just be grateful that you didn't use today. Be grateful that you didn't cause harm today. When you're having a hard time, like recognizing the things that you do have positive in your life, it's really simple to look at, okay, well, I didn't do this today. I didn't cause harm. I didn't use. And that can also help you, get through those rough times. So as you practice gratitude and recovery, it is also important to remember the bad times. Even if today wasn't your best, have perspective on how far you've come. Your progress is an achievement, and you can only appreciate the good when you acknowledge the bad. So I always say, we don't want to compare ourselves to other people, right? Because then we start putting these expectations on ourselves, and they can be unrealistic, and they can also, impact us negatively. Like focusing on what someone else has or how far they've come or what they're doing in their life can distract you from the progress that you've made. So we want to focus on, comparing ourselves to ourselves, recognizing the progress, and you're going to have bad days. It's okay. But when, say, within a week, you're looking at something that was going on with you a week ago, and now you're focusing on this, and that obstacle or that terrible feeling you thought was never going to go away, it has, and you've made improvement. And it's great to recognize your progress. You should be proud of your progress, no matter how big or how small it is. So don't try and, compare to other people. Take a look at yourself, and, you can even set goals that way. If you feel like one day, I didn't really do what I needed to do today. I feel like I didn't make any effort, or I just couldn't. It's okay to recognize that, right? But then the next day, you might be feeling a little better. So, you're doing better than you were doing yesterday. It's just the little things as you progress that you can recognize and be grateful for the progress that you're making in recovery. So number 2 is have a gratitude routine. When you first start practicing gratitude, it'll take some time to make it a regular habit. But there are proactive steps you can take to make it a seamless part of your life as quickly as possible. You can focus on building a gratitude routine into your day. You might write a gratitude journal or have an alarm go off periodically as a reminder to stop and reflect. Now, that's a good idea, because sometimes we get caught up in our lives or caught up in our feelings, and we don't take the time to recognize our progress or, take the time to, find gratitude. So having a little alarm on your phone, you can be okay, I'm going to take 5 minutes just to focus, calm myself. Almost like a meditative act. It's just to put yourself in a good place when you are, so caught up in life. If you're working all the time, you don't have any time for yourself. Sometimes we have to schedule time for ourselves, right? That self-care. So, that's a really good idea to, just make a little, like a schedule for your gratitude if you're a busy person. And they talk about the gratitude journal. Like, this is a great one. It can be so beneficial that, like, you either in the beginning of your day, you wake up, I'm grateful for these 3 things today, and kind of set the day in a positive tone. And you can also at nighttime reflect back on your day and the things that you're grateful for. So, if you're having trouble sleeping or you're bogged down with negative thoughts, this is a great way to kind of help break free of that. Whatever method you choose, try to set yourself up for success by being realistic. If you're not a morning person, writing in a gratitude journal first thing is unlikely. Set up your routine to fit comfortably in your life so you can keep up this new habit long term. Whatever works for you. We don't have to, again, compare ourselves, because what might work great for one person isn't going to work for someone else. Like, I am not a morning person, so the chances of me waking up and writing a gratitude list first thing in the morning are very slim. However, come afternoon, you have a lunch break, jot down a few things. Or again, at night, you get that routine of getting ready for bed and writing a few things down and just ending your day on a positive note. And when you're struggling, you can reach for your gratitude journal or reminders to rebalance yourself. It can remind you of how far you've come and all you've done to get to this stage of recovery. Again, be mindful of your progress. Be mindful of how far you have come and the things that you have overcame in your recovery. Number 3 is focus on language. A significant part of gratitude is language. As you start to practice gratitude, you'll notice the power of words you choose. This should carry over into all the thoughts and conversations you have throughout the day. Try to eliminate negative thoughts and feelings or match them with a positive counterpart. So again, it's the way that you view things. It's how you put things out there. Like, you might be stuck on something. I couldn't finish this project. I don't know what I'm going to do. But instead of focusing on, the bad, you change that language to be like, well, I accomplished this part of the project today. I'll continue to work on it. And it's more about, again, being grateful for what you have done instead of what you haven't. Changing your language can help you focus on the good in the world, in others, and in yourself. When you do this, you'll start to unconsciously and effortlessly practice gratitude throughout the day. Start to change the language you use for your addiction. While you may have regrets about your addiction in past, use the power of words to help you move on to a place of acceptance. When you think or talk about your addiction, always follow up with where you are now. Your addiction may have led you down a destructive path, but now you're choosing to live a better life. This is so important. If you're a member of 12-Step, I'm sure you have heard before about, sharing your problems, but sharing the solution. And this is how we can track our progress. We can appreciate how far we've come, because instead of you just dwelling on the negative things, now we're starting to look for solutions about how to improve them. And it's really, really important that you start to do that, because you will gain a level of acceptance by, looking at the solution and looking at how far you come without even realizing that you are now accepting where you've been. So number 4 is spread the gratitude. As you start this new practice, you'll probably discover a lot of other grateful addicts in recovery. People who focus on gratitude tend to do so openly and share it with others. This is for a few reasons. First, there's a power in sharing gratitude. It makes it feel more concrete when you tell others. Secondly, gratitude is like a smile. If you do it to others, they might do it too. It's all about what you put out into the universe. You know what I mean? You want to, like, positive things in your life. You want to put out positive energy. And gratitude is a great way to do that. And it's not necessarily that you have to go up to someone and say, "Oh, I'm so grateful for you today." It could just be, you know, the way that you are supportive for someone, or like the acts that you do. And a lot of times you don't even realize that what you're doing is impacting someone else in a positive way. So like everything that you put out there, it's like that ripple effect. You put out negative, it's going to ripple around you, and negative's going to happen. You put out positive, it's the same thing. And it's like really like nice that when you do put out that positive and you start like being appreciative, you start seeing people around you more appreciative. I'll give you an example. This weekend, we went to a birthday party for my daughter's younger brother, and he got a computer for his birthday from his sister. And the joy on this child's face, like he was laughing and crying at the same time. He was so overwhelmed with gratitude, 13 years old, that it brought tears to his eyes. And it just like created this whole environment of positivity and love. It rippled out. My mom started to tear up watching him. I started to get emotional watching him, you know, and it just creates this amazing atmosphere of love. And, you know, we had like a group chat with my kids and my parents, and, you know, I just had to let them know like how proud I am of you, and how amazing that, you know, my children, you know, rally together to help do these things for their younger brothers, and, you know, create this positive life for them where they are appreciative of everything that they have. You know, it makes such an impact, whether it's on one person, a whole group of people like us on Sunday. It can be overwhelming. Just like he was so overwhelmed that he brought tears to his eyes. It's just an amazing feeling, especially when you see it in other people. So it goes on to say, so much of recovery is helping others who are going through the same struggle. If you acknowledge the past and appreciate the journey in a positive, intentional way, you might teach others to do the same. Lead by example. You know what I mean? You watch other people in recovery and how they've progressed and how they've done it, you know, and you can, you know, start finding that for yourself. And once you do find that for yourself, you can pass that along to the next person. Because it's always about, you know, in order to keep what we have, we give it away. You know what I mean? And that's what we as recovery coaches do, like all day. We, you know, spread that positivity and, you know what I mean? Try and be an example for those coming into recovery so that they can see the hope, you know? So being able to spread that around, it can just be so much of an impact for yourself and others. And number 5, practice the gratitude motions. As we touched on previously, some days you simply won't feel that grateful. That's bound to happen, and it's perfectly okay. On those days, try to go through the motions anyway to avoid breaking your new habit. Force yourself to keep up with your gratitude routine. Watch your language and try to keep your perspective clear. Often, just by going through the motions, you'll find yourself feeling grateful by the end of the day. Again, it's practice. You start out by writing a couple of things. Before you know it, you are, you know, sharing those things that you're grateful for, and you're progressing in recovery and starting to feel better and starting to be in a more positive mindset, which then in turn you can spread out to others. Gratitude is such an impactful act, and it can go such a long way in your life and in others. So we'll end by saying gratitude can be an incredibly useful tool throughout your recovery. It'll help you stay grounded and remember how far you've come. You'll also notice the small improvements you make, the support you get from friends and family, and the beauty of sober living. It is. It's a beautiful thing to watch an addict recover. It is so, huge. It's just so powerful to see someone come from nothing and, turn into something beautiful and positive in the world, and putting that back out there. There are days that I wake up and I am overwhelmed with how grateful I am in my life. There are times when I wake up and I'm just not feeling it that day. And that's okay. Keep that in mind, and, it might help you in finding what things are making you feel that way. And by looking at what you write down or what you had yesterday can kind of start to make that change from the negative to the positive. And that's all what gratitude is. It's what you're thankful for and the positive things in your life. So I would like to thank you guys for joining us today. And as always, please come into the center, join the meetings with us. We'd love to hear from you, get some feedback, and help you with anything that you may need. So again, my name is Raina, and I am a recovery coach at Capital Recovery, and we hope to see you next time.